to his name now, but Coop is pushing forward. He's getting towards those big placements, Monster, at 17 players alive.
Not only that, though, the zone favored him when he needed it most there, swinging right back in his direction. So there you have it. Coop still in this game. Don't count him out just yet. On the other side, though, Crunchy now down to 7 builds, has to do something massive in the low ground. He's looking for any kind of frag he can find. This could be his big opportunity here to find the impact that he needs. On the high ground, though, Keox is still doing something big. And there you have it, Ozzy. You called it. Coop still making things work with nothing in the inventory. Not in the low ground. Someone's right in front of him. He actually gets to the cone. He's just trying to stay alive now. Any placement matters. Remember, he's in first at the moment.
Oh, shit.
He's jumped up into first. Eyes are on him now, and Coop needs to hold on to the pressure. Can he deal with it? Haven't seen him in this first place position so far this tournament, but he's doing so well. The white tag from behind has to drop back. He's pinned between this player and zone, but no, he can go forward. And there's another player. He misses his shotgun shot, and no, the first one we've seen him miss, and he needed it so badly. But Coop having a phenomenal performance again, going down to Crims.
I thought you want this for my life.
He's going forward. He's pushing in, trying to find his way around the corner. 27 points, no builds, 4 eliminations. So big game, using that harpoon to push forward, wraps around, takes down Booger. He gets the elimination. Booger falls here, which is a big game for him as well. And Crims, the double elimination, back-to-back dubs falls too. So we're going to have such a tight top 10 as Crunchy wants to push his way and cement it higher. The harpoon coming in clutch right now to get him forward, and there's a bunch of loot there. I believe Keox is still on the high ground with the shockwave launcher. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. Can these players win? Can they overcome the shockwave launchers? We've seen it be so devastating. It's now rockets dropping out too. Crunchy on the low ground has everything against him, but he's holding it strong. Still has builds left to his name, has 4 left, 6 eliminations. Keox goes back up with the shockwave launcher. Crunchy scrambling, jumping in and out of zone, trying to find the angles. The AR comes out and no, he falls. Keox in zone, gets the siphon, which could be enough to keep him in it. Nanolight on the high ground. The silent assassin in the back pocket trying to close this one out. Keox wins it in the heel off, and Nanolight can't get back in the storm. And we see 22 points with a 6th elimination win. He got 20 of his 22 points in one game, Monster.
That's the kind of win that you need right there to throw you back into the conversation, back into the game. He took the full-on AR battle, standing toe-to-toe in the zone at his own demise there from the shockwave. Either way, though, we're going to send it over to the table, to the boys at the main desk to break it all down. Zeke, take it away.
Thank you so much, Monster. Keox there, finding himself the victory royale. And boys, we're seeing the caddy launcher. We're seeing these mythic weapons finally in play equals victory royale. It's happening.
A story is all the time. I mean, we've seen it pretty much every single time throughout the heats and until now. It doesn't matter whether it's the person who started with the caddy launcher, with Kit Shockwave Launcher, or not. If you pick it up, you have a big advantage going into that final 1v1.
Absolutely. The question is, for the people who didn't have it, how does the overall standings look now? It is Coop all the way at the top spot, in first after that dominant survival at the low ground. No wins, but look at those eliminations resulting in 45 points.
And the thing I want to note about Coop at the top is he stays holding on to that 10 average placement that Sundown in the previous standings said that he needed to maintain. There is a big, scary moment for him, though. If he falls in any of these, that is the opportunity for someone to rise up. And Blake did just that in the last game, getting right back up in the fighting chances.
And this is what happened before. I think in almost every competition Coop has been in, he's had a top spot, third or first, but then faltered and tripped. So he has to break the pattern, break the curse, hold first, and then win out for the whole day.
And where will any of these other guys end up falling? On the second page, there's still some big sleepers. Kaz, who's been playing very well, has fallen all the way to 11th. Dubs as well, starting to rise up. Same with P-God, who has had 9 eliminations in these games, so definitely feeling the magic that he is used to, but there is a big impact of these guys who potentially could rise hugely in the standings. Like we just saw from Keox, that is a rise in thousands of dollars potentially if you end within that top 5.
And that's what we saw in EU, right? Like, we knew Tayson was going to walk away with the victory, but when you're looking at that big breakdown in placement, the prize money that you could walk away with, you're trying to hit those top spots, right? Like, that's what these guys have to do. They have to come out swinging. They have 2 games left. They need to make the performances that will literally shape history and make it their own. Because right now, it's make or break time.
Yeah, a lot of people have made their performance stand out now in game number 4. We saw Crims take out the first place slot Coop in that last game near low ground. Now he's sitting in the top 30. Very similar for a lot of players. They have their pedestal now to boost off of and then shoot for the top 10, shoot for number 1. It is still anyone's game.
And that was actually the second game in a row that Crims has played very well in towards these end games. There is some serious moves being made by other players that we might not have necessarily seen. We saw him definitely in both of the last end games. We'll have to see if he can continue it.
That's right. I mean, as we kind of break some of this down, we've got 2 games left. There's a lot of these power shifts happening, a lot of players making moves, others falling. I mean, again, as people are eliminated, that's it, right? They have to wait till the next round to earn more points while others are allowed to kind of step forward. But Keox, I mean, he made this game his own.
Yeah, let's just stop back and look at exactly how Keox won that last game. Maximum amount of ammo and loot to boot. There's some nice shots all the way there in the mid-ground. Once you are loud and heard afterwards, you go all the way to height, start dropping down, mid-air, 70 damage tag to wrap that up on low ground with another quick shockwave up. Look at every single use. We're pausing on him to show you the decisions that he's making in fast reaction times, getting these shots down from long range, from beautiful moments and shots all the way outside the zone. They just connect for Keox.
In the final moments, too, the confidence to go for those AR shots at long range, to take out Crunchy and then Nanolite in the final seconds. That was brilliant from Keox, and he makes it work. Again, this opportunity that we keep harping on Zeke, its potential for thousands of dollars if he can make it work one more time.
Yeah, man, we've only got 2 games left. We can't stress this enough. For you guys watching at home, every time these players interact, it is going to dictate whether they are moving up or down the leaderboard, right? Again, if someone is eliminated, they have to wait. They have to sit there and think about what is, like, the mistakes they've made. With 1 game left after that, we're going to see some players rise. We're going to see more players fall. That is the story, and that's how this kind of just unfolds sometimes. You know, you hate to see it, but there's got to be winners and there's got to be losers.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
pointing at you, Shia.
You're pointing at me. I thought you were grabbing for yourself. I got this. Listen, I'm stunned, right? Because I'm trying to overprocess and looking at Coop holding these down up top. Looking at
Hi, bro, I'm gonna say this. What kind of laugh was that, though?
Near the top. That is not the case.
What? Why y'all going Game Chat Stay Party Chat though?
Well, we're not in game chat. We're on party. We just muted.
Why you don't mute?
He's only been 3 points. So keep that in mind. 3 points is all it takes. Zeke.
Thank you guys for that heart throw. With that being said, we're getting ready to get into our next game on the day. So let's send it over to Monster D-Face and Aussie Antics to take us in.
We appreciate you so much, Zeke in this prime there, Ball CW, and of course Sayo Wager for the expertise and breakdown of where we stand right now, right here in the competition. But like you guys mentioned, the rising and falling, it's like the tide, it's like clockwork. These are things that are going to happen. And if this is a high tide for Coop or Class, they're going to run away with the competition here.
Yeah, high tide, and who's been running to the draft though as well. Some people could have it. We saw it in EU. We saw a player rise up so high in Game 5 and then go down early in Game 6 and have to watch it close out. So they get a far southeast zone, which I don't think we've seen too much of. And the reason I'm looking eyes on caddy corners where they can now take their time with those fights and really dictate who gets those powerful weapons. I'm also looking at players like Stretch and Booger. I talked about it yesterday when Stretch played his Heat. He had really struggled games when they went north. As soon as zone started to pull south, he had some huge games. So we could see someone jump up out of nowhere who isn't a nobody. It's crazy how some of the biggest names of this finals aren't up there on the leaderboard, but they could be at any time. A 10 elimination win is 25 points. That is over half the person who's in first place right now. So some of those people who are a little bit low on the leaderboard could come back at any time.
That's right, they can break their way into top 10 like you saw in the previous game. How it just happened like that. A 20-point swing is available to any one of our competitors, especially the veterans that've done it before on the biggest stages. And that's what leads us to the question, what is going to be shaping up right now? How is this going to all play out? Will Coop in Class and the others at the top, like Accept, Blake, Crunchy, DeRoller, be able to hold their lead? If they do, that's it. That's going to be the run. If they cannot, all of a sudden we are going to have a very interesting last and final game. This is game 5, ladies and gents, and we're looking at Skittles right now. Looks like there's a little bit of a fight down here.
Yeah, and I think that player does have the shockwave launcher, right? I saw that shockwave launcher coming out, and that probably explains why Skittles is going so aggressive this fight. Yes, he does have it, so Skittles wants this. He knows a player using rockets like that to disengage means they're weak. If he can chase this player down and get his hands on that shockwave launcher, that's his potential for these 20-point games. That's his way to get back in his tournament. He's 28 points, not doing poorly, but a big game here will jump him up so high.
Oh my god.
He doesn't think he's chased this hard. He thinks he's safe. He's stopping.
Yeah, I'm not playing. Yeah, I'm not playing these last ones.
It's the banana specialist himself falling, and Skittles gets the elimination. He's going to get his hands on that caddy lead. And I have to think, I don't know if XMB's been going caddy corners at all for their monsters, so people changing up their strategy in these final games to have those big point formats. So the players at the top, like Coop, like Klaus, need to be careful because people are changing the way they're playing.
And that's so massive because Skittles already has 2 eliminations, and he was in the top 10, so he's breaking his way up now. That puts him on par with Geroma, who was also at 29 points. But now he has Mythic Kit loot, right? He has the best loot in the game for a solo setting. That's going to be huge here. It's going to help him get into this format and make so much more placement and find the frags that he's going to need to carry his way through that endgame. That's so important to the storyline that's unfolding in front of us.
Yeah, we talked about the storyline, we're talking about protagonists and stuff. Keops, last game, he had his hands on the kits with the first time, and what does he do? He gets 20 points. He got 2 points in his 4 games before that, so 3 games before that, and then he gets 20-point game. So it shows how important that loot is. We can't talk about it enough. Skittles having that in his hand, if he plays with it well though, that's the issue. Do you have the experience with the mythic loot? I saw it a lot in last season. A lot of times people get their hands on the grapple gun, they go crazy. They start using it way too much. It's those players who know how to use it are the ones who can use it most effectively. Doesn't matter how strong it is, it makes you a target as well. As we saw there at Skittles, chasing down XMB because he saw the power of its use. You've got to be careful, and I want to see him hold on to and have that big game like he did during his qualifiers.
I agree. It's the same reason I don't even grab an RPG. You'll just blow yourself up. It's a lot of power in one hand, right? And it gets even worse, right? It only goes up. It only magnifies its way up when you're talking about weapons like that, mythic weapons, specifically the Shockwave Monster. But we'll see, though. Clash is looking really good here. Uncontested loadout, uncontested POI to himself. The old Shark there, the broken down Shark. It's looking pretty good for him. On the other side, Blake, who's also in the top 4 right now, coming into this at 33 points, is still just there. He's got himself something nice, a legendary charge shotgun to play with, a couple rotates, and some good heals for later in the game.
Yeah, and a pretty decent zone. So I want to touch on Clash's zone as well. That's what I'm talking about. These southern zones could cause issues for some of those players at the top. Clash dropping at the Shark, the far northwest part of the map, now has to go southeast. Let's see, does he have it in the game plan? Does he know this drop well enough? And can he now make the rotate? He's uncontested, so he wasn't slowed down, which gives me hope that with the practice he's put in coming into grand finals, he knows when he has to leave early. As you see Collazo sneaking up here on Kanata, maybe trying to use all the sound these Marauders make to kind of sneak his way in. Gets the crash pads. Is Collazo going to go in? He's going to take the sneak shot on Kanata. Kanata will not be happy if he goes down like this. Collazo finding his way in, gets the cone, but Kanata goes out the top. Collazo and Kanata, 2 of the biggest names in NA East. Collazo, a controller player, but known for being more careful, being slower, more methodical, not as aggressive as someone like Kanata. Probably going to disengage here. Yes, Collazo took the chance. He lost his element of surprise, and maybe now he is. He's just going to throw this shot. He's going to throw the crash pad down to give himself that mobility, but he might need it now. Kanata's not happy about this. That was his Marauder loot. He worked hard for it. He wants it back. And Kanata's pushing forward on Collazo, gets it in the cone. This is not somewhere Collazo wants to be. I have to imagine that Collazo's going to struggle in this fight. And no, he hits it with the harpoon, flicks to the blue tack, and takes him down with what must have been an integer of 1 health. He has literally exactly 50 health from that side hit, and he hits him with the emote.
That is not fair for Kanata, who piece controlled everything. He turned it around and then lost the exchange. It just looked like weak hands in that single moment, unfortunately. But that was great for Collazo, who's been hot and cold. He already hit a top 10. He hit a top 15.
Yeah.
He had 2 fizzles out. So with that, that puts him up still. 4 successful contestant for top 5-ish right now.
Yeah, he can jump back up there. And like I said, Collazo is known for being a very, very smart player. in trios. He's one of the few controller players who leads his trio. He does the tunnel, he does the building, he makes the decisions.
Yeah.
Showing how insane his game sense is.
I got top 19. GG's.
He's got the loot,
GG's in
has
chat.
a mid-game aggressive fight, which is not normally his style, and now that extra loot might boost him into the end game where he does play
Top
so well.
38.
Palazzo been struggling a little bit in the heat.
GG's.
Didn't have any incredibly massive
Crystal time.
performances, but I really hope he has it here today. A player that I've been following for a long time as a really good staple player in the competitive community is Crunchy. Doing well to try and make a name for himself here today as well. I feel like he impressed massively in his heats, and see if he can keep doing it today, Moonstar.
That's right. He's up there. He's in the top 5 right now. He's got 8 floppers too. We'll be keeping a close eye on him. On the other side, though, it's Accept, who's also looking pretty good loadout-wise, but the medium bullets a bit low. He's in a dangerous situation now to take any kind of fights if he cannot convert on them, because he'll find himself with nothing to take it into the late game. Berserker in the feed, though, is going to light up Bucky, and Bucky's going to fall, not finding his footing out of the Frenzy Farms. It seems like hot and cold normal spots for him, and not doing too hot.
Yeah, and Accept had the mythic loot last game out of Fortilla, so I have to think he didn't get control of Ocean, which means it could be in the hands of Dubs, which could be a massive swing for the tournament, as one of those players who can be so consistent in placements, but we've talked about it. Dubs has been getting those consistent placements, but now that's not going to be enough. If he's settling for maybe, you know, top 20, top 10 possibly, but if he wants to push himself up there, he's going to have to pick up some eliminations, because he's falling a bit off the pace, and someone who can pick up those eliminations, who we haven't seen much of today, Clix, a player who can drop big games if he gets the opportunity, and hold this only with a sniper rifle. He knows the player's there. Trying to secure this chest. I don't know if he wants to take the fight. It's a scary situation for this opposing enemy, because Clix, if he gets inside this one and turns this into a bit of a box fight, we know how strong he can be. But there's a couple of eyes on them, and they are on Edge Storm, so Clix, she's going to be smart about this and rotate away. No! Flicks it back. He baits it with the rotate and flicks it back with the clean quickscope onto Sid. Clix showing that he's still got it very much on 15 points, but one of those players to look out for to drop a big game, 5 or 6, when there's nothing left on the line. I expect Clix to go ham, and it's going to pay off in a big way, or he'll drop down even further.
If there's any time to do it, it's now in game number 5, and Sid was in 15th place coming into this competition, coming into this game here, so that's a big drop-off. He's going to see him fall in the standings now that he can't accrue any more points. But players like Clix, though, if he turns online now, there still is an opportunity, still is a chance to fight for the big prizing that's on the line here. Trying to rotate now, though. This is going to be a far south zone portal. Remember, we had the first 2 games favored downwards towards Weeping. This time around looks like it's going more towards the mountainous side, more towards Caddy's corner, somewhere down there. And that's going to be some new terrain for these players to play into.
And those are the hardest zones to stay consistent. If it goes up and down, we hear Sundown talk about it all the time. Old Man Mountain will take his whole thing. If they don't have maybe one of those 2 mythic items with incredible durability, it's really hard. You get pushed down the mountain a little bit, and then the zone goes straight back up. You've got to scramble and fight your way back up with a lot of people. So we could see a very interesting zone in endgame where some of those players, like Coop and Class, are going to have to really show off their consistency.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
That is right. And even on this rotate here, Clix is not getting it done for free. There's multiple players here that are looking to fight right now. Not sure why. Possibly because the Storm Surge that is active now. Players need their tags, and it doesn't matter. You stop in here to fight with Clix. He's going to give it to you, and he's going to do it right there. He did it with the sniper again. This is the second time now he's landed this big bull action shot that he needs. On the other side, it's Fishy, one of the hottest up-and-coming players, one of the hottest players on this scene right now, who's been not too hot to date, specifically. Unfortunately, not really finding what he needs. On the other side, though, P-God, he was off to a very strong, consistent start, and he's had a bad game in the recent ones.
Yeah, and I have to mention how on brand it is that every time we turn into the Peruvian P-God, he's always got the pepper popped. Me and Sundown were messing around with it yesterday with some tongue twisters, but it honestly seems to be his game plan, and it lets him aggressively push forward with speed into fights like this onto Vibify, someone we've unfortunately seen on the feed quite a lot today on the stream, unfortunately at the back end of getting eliminated. P-God trying to get his way back into this one.
And just a few elims will break him right into top 10, so let's not forget that. He's been doing just enough, as you see. He gets tagged pretty hard there, but I think he's going to be A-okay. On the other side here is D-Roller, sitting up on high ground right now. And this is what I mentioned, the zone pulling southeast is going to really favor into this mountainous terrain, this sketchy place to kind of rotate through. It only gets harder and harder if you're late on the rotates. The players that situate up first are going to have such an advantageous position over the remaining players in the lobby, and it's going to be that much harder to move on out, especially for players like D-Roller who don't have a launch pad, but at least he does have a crash pad. Could be a fight, though, for him to take. He's
How do I mess up?
The Storm Surge.
What the fuck are you talking to?
It's active right now. I think it must be just Daxor maybe to get some tags off. As we can see, Daxor not doing too hot today, 7 points. I was going to say maybe the hope for the E11 back-to-back on 2 major regions, but unfortunately I don't think so today. But Daxor needs to win this one as D-Roller's going to push around the side. We know he's going aggressive, and we know why. He needs his Storm Surge tags. If you aren't a big fan of competitive Fortnite, you don't follow it. Storm Surge is basically the threshold that D-Roller needs to get above. He needs to get damage above that threshold so that he doesn't start taking 25 damage every 10 seconds, and that's why he's going aggressive. It's why me and Monster were saying how good of a position he was in, and it changed so quickly, and that's why Storm Surge is in the game. It pressures those players so they can't play too passive. You need to have these interactions. You need to have engagements. You need to take fights. You can't just sit back and rest on what you have. As Daxor identifies this, now knows how weak he is, and I think he's going to push forward and punish this one. He has the SMG in the hand, and he also has the 2 crash pads.
Yeah, it looks like D-Roller unfortunately stepped out a little too soon. He was safe for some time, but might have miscalculated how soon he needs to push in, and that's going to be it right there. You saw the tag come through. It doesn't matter. Daxor's going to walk right through him, and he's going to take him out of the game. Let's not forget, guys, D-Roller wasn't a top 10. He was just underneath top 5, so that's going to be a big, big pause for him. We need these players in the top 10 to stay alive and continue to get points if we want this competition to be close. Remember, players like Coop, Class, Accept have such a lead over the rest of the players here that if they stay up, they could easily run away with the competition and never look back. It could be an insurmountable lead they're putting up in front of them. Here's Blake, though, someone who is in striking distance of the top 3, making a very scary rotate across the open waters here. There's even sharks nearby, so he's got to be super careful as the shots are coming in from all the players situated up on the mountain now.
And if you missed it, Blake put up a 20-point game in the first game of today. So he's someone who's around that point with Cooper and Class, who's proven that he can get the win, much like D-Roller. So those are the players you got to keep eyes on. They've proven they can do it, and he did it without ridiculous loot as well. So Blake now, with only 1 mini though, is a situation that you guys know that I love. He needs a fight, and he needs elimination, and he gets absolutely destroyed here. Taken down to 11 health. He's going to be up to an effective, 36 health if my math is correct after that mini, which he's going to need a no. He falls, and it was Aspect. I believe maybe it was Aspect that lit him up. We can't see. It was someone lit him up, and Aspect maybe finishes it off, and that's a really, really tough way to go for Blake, and I talked about it earlier. He got headshot sniped in game 2. These are the ones that you need to mentally reset and come back from. You need to try and figure out what went wrong and try to figure it out without just getting too upset, because you still got 1 game ahead of you, and we talked about the prize money. There is a lot on the line today. You can't give up now. You need to close out strong.
That's right. You need to hold that mentality of a champion, as Reverse 2K would put it. Even if you fall, you can still turn around and take a victory in your final game to really bump yourself up to either qualifying, but this time it's for the money, it's for the prizing, it's for the prestigious placement that'll stay etched in your competitive history for a lifetime. On the other side, though, Dubs, consistent, slow, methodical, still breaking and inching his way through new territory here with the placement points that he's been earning. He's at 28 right now. Not too bad, but not quite enough to be in the top 10. Not just yet. P-God's going to find clicks in the feed there. That's massive for P-God. Always turning online in these mid-games. Not afraid to take a fight. Doesn't matter who you are. Dubs, though.
I like the choice here of Dubs with the Peppers. Like, it's a good position to be in. We've talked about the mounds around this area. It's going a little bit more towards Misty, so not too much verticality, but the Peppers are really good for making your way up those hills rather than the crash pads where quite often you get stuck under all the builds above you. Dubs also has the launch pad, and no surprise there, Booger in a beautiful high ground power position with sightlines over the whole lobby as Dubs does get that elimination onto Lunez. So he's got 1 on the board now, and he's looking really, really good. 29 points. Can he jump his way up in there, or can he do the slow and methodical? As we see Kaz over in the corner, someone who I was hyping up a lot, dropped back down into just outside top 10, but he can do this with an average placement so far of around 30th. So he's doing well this game. Just got to keep pushing forward and get into it as we still have 64 alive, Monster. NA East is not speeding up at all. The leaderboard is speeding up, but the players are still playing their slow, methodical game that they know how.
You can't blame him. Players like Coop who just want to wait for opportunity to land on him. And yes, he is going to find one. Jelsi off in the distance there is going to be the player he knocks out of the competition now, sending him back to the lobby only to queue up for their final game coming up. This is game number 5, ladies and gentlemen, the NA East Grand Finals of the FNCS Solos Division. There's $500,000 on the line. So you can imagine the pressure is at an all-time high, even for players like Bugha, who are taking the first place on the biggest stages across the world. And during this FNCS, Bugha has averaged more than 7 points per game in his final 3 games, so he is looking to swing his way up. He is looking to stay in the competition and show that he can place another high-placing spot in a solos comp.
Champion on the day of days won the Solo World Cup, but it was a different story. He jumped out with that massive lead and just had to hold on to it. Did not lose his first place since first game, but showing here as a competitive player, he has progressed even more to be able to close out those tournaments that don't start so strong, and looking to do so here. Drops down with the green tack, and he does. He takes down Cody. A big elimination there. Bugha and Cody also actually used to be teammates too, so maybe a bit of love lost there between Cody and Bugha as he gets that big elimination, and he's back up to 75 builds now, 6 crash pads and the launch pad, and that's one extra player that's now taken out away from him, around him, so he's conditioned this area and now has an even cleaner rotate with not as many people around him as he pulls a pretty difficult half-half, but not too bad of a one here, Monster.
That was huge. Cody did get his fire put out once again, another game in a row. He was doing well at the start, but hit that mid-game wall like we talk about, that mid-competition wall that can happen to anyone regardless of how good. Bugha, though, is on the crash pad. He's not slowing down, not at all right now. He's going to position himself up on a nice, great layer here. Bugha, one of the few people that actually look out before they crash pad. He treats it almost like a launch pad if you ever do any reviewals, and this is going to be such a big elim for him. It's going to be onto rocks. Oh my gosh. The impact frag that he needs. He can actually gather up all of the loot here as well. And now maxed out because of the pickup there. This is looking like it could be Bugha's game easily now.
It easily could be, and we've just talked about it. That graphic showing up, we crunched the numbers, and Bugha is good in these tail halves of the tournament. So if anyone's going to handle the pressure and show up big here in Game 5, it's going to be him, and that's what you're watching if you've just tuned in. Game 5 of the NA East FNCS Grand Final. Monster just laid on the line. $500,000 is going to be given out in the next 2 games, and a few players need to jump up there right now. You're looking for Coop, you're looking for Class. They've got a decent lead on the rest of the tournament, but we've seen big point swings in the past. Someone can jump up and take their position and get into that top 2 spot. If they fall soon, it's going to be anyone's game for the taking, and that's what you want, a nice tight leaderboard at the top, because this one is going to be a nail biter, except we saw him have a great game last game, but that was with Mythic loot in hand. He walked away with Fortilla with Ocean's loot. Can he do it now with 3 crash pads, 3 minis, and 2 green weaponry with just under 50 bills? It's not a bad loadout, but he's going to have to use it very wisely as we see a nice water zone here. It's not deep water like you were used to last season, so these players can still build, they can still block all the shots, but it's very open sightlines. If Accept has to push across here, or those players have to push into him, there's no cover. They have to use their mats. There's no hills, no trees, no houses. It's just you and the opponent in front of you. He's going to go back forward again. He can see if he can try and make his way out of this one.
He's using another enemy's crash pad. Remember, I was just going to say, let's not forget the fact that Accept is in the conversation right now for top 3 here, Ozzy.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. He's got a good chance to try and jump up through this one if he can. Holding onto those crash pads, it's with plays like that where he reuses them and goes forward, takes down Zombie, and good thing he held onto those crash pads because now he needs them. Nice rotate onto front side. Ultimate low looking really good down there. Goes up a few layers. I see Calc on the backside with pressure on. I see a few people going for high ground. Bugha's there. We talked about him. He was in a decent position, but now he's fighting his way back in. Illis, we're shooting him with one of the biggest fighters in NA East. He can drop eliminations like anyone. He's going to start making his way through 2 crash pads. One about to come out, but no, he holds onto it till the last millisecond. He doesn't need it. He holds it there, zone goes back, and now he has that in the back pocket. This utility is everything for him right now. He has no shields. He has 100 health. Those crash pads are going to allow him to get into a box and get a refresh, and this is that. It's exactly what he's looking to do. He gets in there. The epic tax shotgun gets put to use, and he takes down Renans, and now he gets the shield, and that's why you have to hold on to your utility. You need to run it for as long as you can. Wrigley on the high ground, but it's not very secure. He needs to be careful on how he plays that high ground, Monster. Never mind, he's going to keep pushing forward. I think Monster's just reconnecting back in. Hopefully we have him to run this end game, but it might just be you and me, but it's going to be exciting either way. Coop, someone I've been cheering on this whole time, on 50 points, gets another elimination onto COD Genesis. Coop is one of the best players with attack in hand in scrappy fights on backside, and that's what he's going to need to do. He needs to keep pushing it through. He needs to keep going and keep closing this one out if he can.
And here's the RPG on high ground. It's not looking too good here. Wrigley's really going to be manipulating the lobby. That RPG's going to force everyone down the mountain. Players like Bugha have to probably come back over. He's all the way
What
to
the hell is that
bottom
fish stick
but
doing?
Wrigley taking a huge risk.
What happened?
Out in the top. We'll see how that's going to happen here. On the other side, though, focus on the bottom. Bugha trying to make his crossover now. And Coop as well.
Yeah.
With a big lead here, 52 points. He's made it this far. That is ridiculous. He is only getting further and further away from the competition, Ozzy.
Here's his... Class is not in this one contesting it, so this is Coop's tournament. Can he have the huge game 5 and then have the breezy... I'm not entirely sure, but Wrigley, finally someone sees... I think they both just went down on high ground. The power position is given up. Coop has to do something to keep pushing forward. 55 points on the board. Backside of Storm. He's in the top right of your screen. That's what you want to look at. He misses a couple of shots, but the movement gets him through. He's still got floppers. He still has minis, and he's going back to front side to close this one out, Monster.
He is going insane right now. Bugha in the low ground trying to find anything. He's going to go for the shotgun exchange. He gets it right when he needs it most. The Siphon's going to come through. Just enough mass to keep him alive as well. And it's a two-way fight right now. It's high ground. It's low ground. Bugha versus Zen. And then everyone else up above right now who is battling it out. Dubs, Fishy, Nutsex, all big names on the scene right here for NA East. On the other side, though, Bugha trying to bounce back in the comp. Few seconds now. He's going to play with the Storm. He's playing with fire right now. 3 HP. Someone lands in front of him. It's Dubs. Dubs goes down. Bugha's still running with it. 4 eliminations now. He is clearly in the top 10. Possibly top 5. He might have made it all the way up to the top. He's still in the game here.
No, I was doing X. No, he was playing X.
We showed it. We said it. We highlighted it. And there he is closing out a big game. But who can close out this game? Is it who, Fishy? You said it, Monster.
Yeah.
He's cold. He's looking hot now. He likes his fish hot.
Yeah.
He's trying to push forward. He's going down. He gets pushed down onto Nutx, and no, Nutx takes him out. It's a 1v1 situation. Nutx and exactly. It's closing out. We might see our first kill off, but no.
I'll be get my pants. Okay, this way. I'm not gonna sing it because I can't. Right now.
But the 3 elimination win, Coop runs.
That was a battle of layers, and players like Bugha really stepping it up just like that. But either way, we're sending it over to the desk. We're sending it over to the boys to go in and break down all the action for us.
There you have it. Game number 5 is done and closed. Doing exactly what he needed to find the victory royale. Now, guys, we're getting ready. We've got 1 game left. What we have to do is take a look at the standings, because that is directly going to pretty much dictate what we should expect going into the last game. What do you think, Shai?
For me, it's like, you know, it must be exactly, he went out the game, he's now ahead, but Bugha got an insane elimination spree, but Dubs was alive, but it doesn't matter, because in first, it's still Coop at 57 points, 19 elims, pushing the lead, still looking so hot up top.
Shio might stutter, but Coop does not. 12 points in the lead, and he's almost at 20 eliminations on the tournament, too. This could be the run for Coop to solidify him as somebody, at least in the mind of the community, who should be up there in consideration for the best solo players, but regardless, they're still hot on his heels. Class, again, only 12 points behind, and that is the kind of player who can have those big games to catch back up.
Bugha has one word on his mind, though, in 4th place. It's manifest. Manifest that World Cup win, being on the top, the solo champion. He's trying to climb back to first, 20 points behind, and still has one more game to push to do it.
Dubs, though, look, same point value. He is tied. Even Illest, right? Just a handful of eliminations, except could make something happen, as you're saying.
I'll put on another X
right now. We have
which one?
Literally anything can happen. If nothing does,
remember, I already know it's probably gonna be Sad or Moonlight.
No eliminations would secure him.
Fuck.
What's happening?
Everybody that we just watched in that last game, and we just saw exactly all the way up, probably around the 25th mark. And these guys as well in this page too, they're just missing a significant amount, but there's everybody bouncing back and forth. It's not one person.
Can you hear it?
All. It's like a whole bunch of different people and a bunch of different
What?
players trying to
No, I can't.
the prize at the end of the day.
Hey, you just gotta wait for it to get louder.
I'm gonna say it right now. Grab your cameras and just take a screenshot of any of these pages past the top
Somebody
10.
called my
They
phone.
will change next game. Ball is right. It's bouncing back and forth. It's a ping pong
What?
match all the way up to everyone right beside there. Hitting.
My friend will